The arena lights dimmed, and a cold, electrifying silence took over as thousands of fans held their breath, waiting for the moment that would decide the destiny of two champions. This wasn't just a rematch. This was redemption versus destiny. AnthonyJoshua walked from the tunnel with a deliberate, heavy presence. Broad shoulders squared, eyes burning with a promise to rewrite the past. His steps echoed through the arena, each one a declaration of focus and fury. The crowd exploded with chants of AJ, 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 but he didn't glance around. He didn't smile. He was locked in, dead serious, a man who had tasted defeat and refused to swallow it again. And then, as the lights shifted to blue and yellow, the energy changed. Oleksandr Usyk emerged with a calmness so unnerving that even the cameras hesitated on his face, searching for fear, for tension, anything. But Usyk looked as if he already knew the ending of this night. His eyes were quiet, his posture relaxed, every step smooth, like a man walking toward completion, not confrontation. Yet he wasn't facing the same Joshua from the first fight. This AJ was sharper, harder, mentally armored. The world felt it. Something was different tonight. As both fighters stepped into the ring, circling slowly with their eyes locked, the air thickened to the point where breathing almost felt difficult. The referee pulled them forward. Their gloves touched. A silent war began even before a punch was thrown. The crowd leaned in, hearts pounding, every camera zoomed in, every mind predicting explosiveness. And then the bell rang. Ding! The crowd erupted instantly. Joshua moved aggressively, but controlled, snapping jabs with purpose. Usyk tilted, slipped, moved with the grace of a magician. Both men studied each other with predatory focus. The rematch had begun, and within seconds, the entire arena knew. This wasn't going to be a fight. It was going to be a storm. The moment the second phase of the fight unfolded, Joshua came alive with a sharper rhythm, working behind a disciplined, heavy jab that cracked through the air like a whip. He wasn't just throwing it. He was using it to corner, to probe, to suffocate Usyk's angles. But Usyk, with his supernatural sense of distance, slipped it with micro-movements so tiny yet so effective that it looked like he was bending reality itself. Every time Joshua tried to plant his feet and load up a power shot, Usyk drifted sideways, reappearing at new angles, touching AJ's chin with fast, surgical combinations. The chess match began to intensify as Joshua stalked Usyk, cutting the ring with deliberate steps, forcing him toward the ropes. He feinted high, dropped low, then unleashed a heavy right hand that barely missed Usyk's jaw, but even the miss sent a shockwave of tension through the crowd. Joshua's corner shouted, "Pressure, don't let him breathe," and he didn't. But Usyk's counters were hauntingly precise, snapping Joshua's head and ribs with pinpoint punches. The suspense grew with every exchange. Joshua landed a stiff jab that jolted Usyk backward, a rare sight that made the entire arena gasp. Usyk reassessed instantly, firing back a rapid three-punch combination, gloves flashing like lightning as he angled out of danger. The pace began to rise, the intensity growing with each minute. The rounds became a razor-edge battle, neither man willing to give ground. By the end of the mid-rounds, fans couldn't predict what would happen next. Joshua's power found its mark, and Usyk's speed sliced through defenses. It turned into a contest of heart, precision, and pressure. Two contrasting styles clashing like storms against mountains. Every second felt like it could shift history. As the fight entered the seventh round, everything transformed. The technical chess match evolved into a brutal war where both men stopped holding anything back. Joshua dug hard into Usyk's ribs with vicious body shots, thudding punches that echoed through the arena like someone swinging a hammer into a tree. Each body shot was a message: break. But Usyk refused to break. Instead, He responded with swift, slicing counters that whipped Joshua's head sideways and forced him to reset again and again. You could feel the intensity. The air felt thick, electrified, burning with anticipation. Joshua managed to corner Usyk, unleashing a devastating right hand that landed flush on the Ukrainian's face. The crowd erupted. Usyk stumbled. Joshua's eyes widened. This was his moment. He charged forward with a barrage of hooks and uppercuts, each punch thrown with raw desperation and power. The arena exploded in chaos, fans screaming, commentators shouting over each other. But Usyk's survival instincts were world-class. He ducked, weaved, rolled, absorbing some blows but evading the critical ones by mere centimeters. Somehow, impossibly, he stayed on his feet. Then, in a shocking twist, Usyk unleashed a furious series of punches that stunned Joshua, forcing him backward for the first time in the fight. A wave of adrenaline ripped through the audience. The war was fully ignited now. No more caution, no more studying. Just two warriors, both exhausted, but neither willing to give in. Sweat flew from their faces with every punch. Their legs grew heavy, their breathing labored, yet they kept pushing, kept firing, kept refusing the idea of defeat. The tension in the arena reached a breaking point. Fans stood on their feet, unsure of who was winning, but absolutely certain they were watching something unforgettable. This was no longer boxing. This was survival. As the championship rounds approached, the energy inside the arena felt dangerously unstable, like a storm about to explode. Joshua stepped out for the 9th and 10th rounds with a deep, burning determination in his eyes. He jabbed with venom, hammered body shots with purpose, and moved with the urgency of a man who knew the clock was against him. He forced Usyk into uncomfortable positions, closed the distance, and battered him with heavy combinations that shook the ring. But Usyk, despite the fatigue shadowing his movements, maintained a terrifying sense of calm. His footwork sharpened again, as if his legs remembered their purpose at the perfect moment. He began reading Joshua's attacks with uncanny accuracy, slipping punches by inches, rolling under hooks, firing crisp left hands through tight openings. The exchanges became brutal, breathless. Joshua landed a monstrous right hand that snapped Usyk's head violently backward. Gasps erupted across the arena. It was one of the biggest shots of the fight. But Usyk didn't fall. Instead, he fired back immediately, unleashing a relentless storm of punches, sharp, fast, surgical, forcing Joshua to step back. The suspense was unbearable now. Both men were exhausted, hurt, yet neither willing to let the other take control. The war escalated in every second. Joshua's face tightened with effort, sweat streaming, blood mixing with determination. Usyk's eyes focused with laser intensity, absorbing pressure and responding with precision. The 10th round belonged to Usyk. The 11th round felt like it was fought inside a burning furnace, both men pouring out their last reserves. The arena was on fire with screams, anticipation, fear, excitement. Everything was building toward a final, explosive ending. And as the bell rang, signaling the final round, both corners knew one last war remained. The fate of the rematch would be written in the next 3 minutes. The final round began with a silence so sharp it felt like the whole arena had paused its breathing. Joshua marched forward, gathering every last ounce of strength left in him, determination blazing in his tired eyes. He fired jabs with sheer willpower, followed by heavy hooks that shook the air with their force. Every punch was a plea, a demand, an attempt to seize destiny. He knew what was at stake. He knew he needed this round more than anything. But Usyk stepped into the final round like a man awakened. His fatigue seemed to disappear, replaced by a sudden surge of sharpness and speed. He moved with renewed life, slipping Joshua's heaviest shots and countering with lightning-fast punches that snapped AJ's head back again and again. Joshua tried to close the distance, tried to overpower him, but Usyk's angles became sharper, his footwork smoother, his timing perfect. The crowd erupted. The final seconds ticked away. The bell rang. Ding! Ending one of the most intense heavyweight rematches in modern boxing. Joshua dropped his arms, chest heaving, sweat dripping. Usyk exhaled deeply, eyes still focused. Neither celebrated, neither smiled. They had poured their entire beings into this war. The ring announcer returned with the scorecards. The audience braced themselves. And then the verdict echoed through the arena. Oleksandr Usyk wins by unanimous decision. Joshua nodded in respect, no bitterness in his eyes, only acceptance and admiration. Usyk raised his gloves, representing not just a victory, but a testament to heart, skill, and warrior spirit. The rematch had ended, but the legend of this battle would live forever.